Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Quality Tech Talks with Omar and Creston.
What up, dog?
And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the two main operating systems in the mobile space. Obviously, Android and iOS, which is on the iPhone. And for years, they've always differentiated themselves, right? They always looked at it like iPhone does this, but Android does that,
Yep.
and one does one while the other one does it. But we got to thinking. For the past few years, it really feels like they're just becoming the same operating
They're
system.
becoming brothers, and they don't even know it.
So they're just doing things separate of one another, but also, in competition with one another, and it's kind of the thing where they're becoming one another.
Yeah.
And when you really look at it on multiple levels, which is what we're going to kind of go over today, you see the similarities, but there's still a few differences.
Yeah.
Not quite what it used to be.
Right.
And it becomes a thing where, does this just mean that, there's no more innovation in smartphones, or is this just the way things are going to be now?
Like, I remember working when I was working at Best Buy. I remember when the iPhone 10 came out. I literally, my sales pitch to Android users was, this is the first iPhone that literally can get Android users to switch and not see that much of a difference. With the gestures and the way you navigate, and
I'll tell you this,
man,
Android is still trying to catch up with the gestures.
Okay, yeah. I'll give you that one for sure, 100%.
Like, the Pixel gestures are a mess. Like, I've been running the Android Q beta on my Pixel 2, and it's better, but they got some. OnePlus has good gestures. I will say that. But when you're looking at Android and iOS, think about what the user interface is now in 2019. So they're both grid-based user interfaces. So it's just a page with a bunch of static icons. Obviously, back in the day, you had Windows Phone and BlackBerry 10 that tried to do a couple different things. But ultimately, the ones that won out, Android and iOS, are just grid-based operating systems with notification dots.
Right.
They both do the same thing.
Yep.
Slightly different in that Apple has the number-based system. Google has their just dot-based system. Just a design difference there.
Right.
They both,
just so they don't get sued.
Yeah, exactly.
They want to be like each other.
Exactly. Both have some level of widget integration. Obviously, Android, you can place it wherever you want. iOS has it to the far left screen.
Yeah.
What's crazy about that, too, though,
It's pretty cool, though.
is that a lot of Android manufacturers are taking that whole widget to the left thing.
Oh, I think, like OnePlus.
OnePlus does it with the shelf. Bixby looks a lot like that.
Yes.
Yeah, in that aspect.
They can do one UI.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Android itself has kind of gone away from widgets. I don't know if you remember.
I don't see a lot of people with widgets anymore.
Yeah, like back in the day, and I want to say like in the Android Jelly Bean days, right?
Yeah.
You had widgets everywhere. Everybody like, I got this calendar widget, this clock widget.
Yep.
I mean, HTC's clock widget was famous.
Yeah.
It's iconic. And you had all these widgets, but now it's like less, and even the apps provide less and less and less widgets. And I just feel like people are over them being all over the place. But the way that iOS implements them makes some sense as well. So you have that similarity.
Yep.
They both have a notification panel.
Yep.
In the same spot. They both have a quick settings panel.
Yep.
On the iPhone, you swipe from the right. On Android, you do a 2-finger swipe from wherever, and then you get all of your control center or quick settings panels.
And then with Apple, you have your quick settings from the bottom.
Well,
It used to be from the bottom. Yeah, it used to be from the bottom.
Now it's from the
not
top
everything
right.
to the top. Yeah, you're right. One swipe to the right and then on the left. Yeah, you're right. My bad.
And then, they both have easy ways to access the camera app from the lock screen.
Yep.
If Android, you double tap the power button.
3D Touch became popular with Apple, but then now Android is trying to do their similar 3D Touch hard press or whatever they want to call it now.
And then with multitasking, they both, stole the idea from WebOS.
Oh man, the Palm Pre is still my favorite phone of all time. Period.
That phone was years ahead of its time.
Man, I mean, I think Palm, or if you're listening, Palm, if you just somehow listen past this video podcast, Listen, make a big screen Palm Pre, man. Make a Palm Pre 5.5 inches, something. Like, you can do it, man. Like, that. You can do it. I wish they didn't get away from that.
Yeah, it's just on that point, so much was stolen from that. Gestures.
Yep.
The multitasking.
Yep.
The universal search.
Yep.
If you remember how universal search was on WebOS, it looks like Apple had a designer looking at that and put it right into iOS.
Yep.
Siri Spotlight looks just
It's
like
crazy
WebOS
that you
universal
say
search.
that. Yep. That's what we have right now.
Yeah.
That's what.
So that's what all of what Android and iOS have in common right now. And further point of that is the way they're treating the modding, hacking, and development community is also very similar. It used to be a thing where iOS is so locked down, iPhone's very locked down, Android is free. You can do anything you want to do on Android, right? But is it really the case anymore?
No, and I also don't see a lot of people rooting in jailbreaking there.
No.
Because I think what the developers have listened to, they're like, you know what? I want my next update or my next, to be similar to what they want in this jailbreak or this root. So
I think HTC and Samsung and LG to a smaller degree noticed this, and they said, "Well, what are people jailbreaking to do?"
Yeah,
most people are doing it for theming purposes.
With customization of the top bar.
Yeah, so if they looked at it, it's like, well, if you just want themes, we'll release a theme store.
Yeah, why not?
And obviously with them voiding warranties with rooting and jailbreaking, so become less and less popular. And operating systems operating systems have become better. Yeah. And so as a result, that has gone away. Now, both iOS and Android are, they're really focused on security. I mean, Apple's made it the whole marketing pitch, that if you want a secure phone, you get an iPhone. I mean, have you seen all those new commercials?
Oh, yeah, the commercials. Yeah. And they didn't even have to make themselves seen at CES. They just literally put that big billboard up. Yeah. And they still became the talk of the town without even being there.
Exactly. And Android has this reputation, malware, viruses, all this stuff. Yeah. And they, Pixel phones, Android One phones receive monthly security updates. So it's been the focus of both, right?
Yeah.
And
just some talk about it more than the others, i.e. Apple.
Yeah. And, so, like, Samsung and LG still struggle with those security updates, but even they have gotten better.
Right.
Now, if you look at the way Google has taken the Google Play Store. Right. It used to be, they used to encourage side-loading apps.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, go to APK Mirror, download this update. Oh, you want an app that's only available in India? That's fine. But now it's got more region restrictions. Right. And it's much more like iOS now.
Again, they're taking from each other, whether they say it or not.
And, I mean, Apple kind of took from that as well in the sense, we'll allow third-party keyboards. Yeah. We'll allow you to use another browser. Right. So it gives you a little bit of that flexibility you got from Android.
Just a different way, kind of like the back door.
Yeah, so it's like Apple is on one end and Android's on the other end. It's like slowly meeting in the middle.
They're going to sit at the table one day and create something. I don't know. I think, what you think? Apple may use the hardware, and then they may put Android on their device, or you think it may go the other way? What would you like to see? Because I asked you yesterday if you had to create a phone.
Yeah. So this is funny. So sidebar, Kristen asked me if I created a phone, what would it be?
And I couldn't even respond with a different thing because it was super on point.
So to me, I think you want the software stability that you get with iOS. You want phone hardware made by Huawei and camera sensors from Huawei as well. You want the AI and algorithms of the Pixel camera, and you want a screen made by Samsung.
That's it.
You get all of that, and to me, you probably have the perfect phone. Yeah. Because iOS is incredibly stable. While Android has gotten better, iOS is still incredibly stable. Right. And, obviously Huawei has been just dominating on the hardware side for the past couple years. Samsung screens are unrivaled. Yeah. And,
gotta buy a Samsung screen.
It's my Pixel 2 I have, right? And I have iPhone XS, okay? Pixel 2, still, being a year older, takes much better low-light still photos than my iPhone does. Mm-hmm. Like, I was at a concert last year, and I was like taking photos. I was like, man, I really wish I had my Pixel with me. Man. Because it was just a little lacking. Yeah. Like, the video on the XS is great.
Oh, yeah, because you get that stereo sound.
Stereo sound is great. Yeah. But the still photos is just the AI of Google is just so far ahead.
Right.
But moving forward, what these operating systems have become, to me, is just, they're a way to get into these companies' ecosystems, right?
Yeah.
So for every category of app or service that Google and Apple make, they have comparable apps to one another.
Yes, they do.
So on the iPhone, you have Siri.
Android, you got Google Assistant.
On the iPhone, you got Apple Music.
And on Android, you got Google Play, which is now slowly but surely getting away and will continue to become YouTube Music.
Mm-hmm. For email, you have Apple Mail and Gmail.
And then home apps or smart home.
Yeah.
You have HomeKit for Siri. You have Google Home for Android. Mm-hmm. And then, you have Alexa, too.
Right.
That's trying to dominate.
Mm-hmm. And now Alexa being pre-built on certain Android phones as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like Motorola's done that. When I had a U11, it gave me the option for both. It had Google Assistant and it had Alexa. Yeah, so that's
smart.
Yeah, that's kind of becoming a thing. Even when you go to news, you got Apple News and Google News.
TV services are really a big talk. You got Apple TV Plus is coming. And then Netflix is pissed off at that. Mm-hmm. Then you got for Android, you could do. You can still have Android and do Apple TV Plus, but if you want to keep the ecosystem together,
sure.
You do Android, you do YouTube TV, YouTube Premium.
You got Safari and Chrome as far as web browsing,
and then with messaging and chat, you got iMessage and FaceTime, which is it's crazy. You got people saying, if I see a green bubble, ew, I don't want to talk to you. And then with Android, you have Android Messages, Google Duo. Mm-hmm. But with RCS coming, which is Rich Communication Systems, guys, it's supposed to be more of a iMessage type of thing.
So even then, they're trying to get more in line. Like if you've ever used Google Duo, it's just like FaceTime.
Yeah.
Yep,
because now you can actually in your contact list, if you have Google Duo downloaded on your phone on an iPhone. If you hit the video icon in your contacts, and that person is an Android, it'll literally, it acts as if it's FaceTime for Android.
Yeah.
Which is Google Duo. So you don't have to do a lot of extra steps.
You got iCloud and Google Drive. You have Apple Maps and Google Maps, and you have Apple Notes and Google Keep Notes.
Yep.
So all these apps with comparable, alternatives on the other. So basically, the idea here is Google wants you to use Android, obviously, but they want you to use all these services too.
Right.
Apple wants you to buy an iPhone, and when you buy an iPhone, they want you to use all these services. Yeah. And I think what it's become is these phones are a way, like a gateway to get into their larger ecosystem.
Yeah.
For years, people have been saying, "Oh, what keeps the iOS user on iOS?" The answer is always iMessage, because it's the green bubble syndrome, the blue bubble syndrome, right?
And then it's that thing, like I've realized out of everybody I know, there's only two people out of everybody, literally family and friends. There's only two people I know that have Android, and it's easier to communicate with people that have an iPhone than it is to communicate with somebody with an Android if you have an iPhone. No offense to people listening with Android. I'm just saying, if I can send an iMessage to somebody and they get it just like that, or if I can use all the iMessaging features with that person, with the double tap and I can heart something or a thumbs up, all those features built into iMessage with another person that has an iPhone, it just makes me like, dang, is that the only thing that's keeping me? But then I got, I have a Pixel 2 XL, and when I jump on that and I message, let's say for instance I message Omar, I sometimes feel like, dang, I messaged him on his iPhone. Let me jump back on my iPhone, and then it's just a smooth breeze.
And what gets me to think about that is Google had it figured out. Hangouts was great.
Yeah, well, it was good.
So here's the great thing. Hangouts had a web client.
Yeah.
Hangouts was pre-installed on every single Android phone.
Yep.
Hangouts had an iPhone app.
Yep.
So it had SMS relay and SMS features on the app on Android.
Right, they had an iPhone app, so then they could have...
You could have just said, hey, you want to chat with your Android user, hey, just have them download Hangouts.
And then you get the similar features.
But then they just, Google's messaging strategy. Now, that's a topic for a whole other thing.
Yeah.
So really, but both of these platforms now, they're just introducing more and more and more services because that's how they know they're going to make their money, right?
And that's how they know they're going to keep you too.
Yeah, exactly. They know that, you're gonna, if you buy an iPhone and you start locking yourself into Siri and locking yourself in all the Apple ecosystem, you're gonna stick with an iPhone. You're gonna
buy into the other things because they make you feel like this is gonna work better.
Yeah, and Google, they're trying to sell you the dream where, if you buy a Pixel, your best experience on all your Google apps is gonna be on a Pixel. Right? And that's how they continue to keep people buying Pixel phones. So that brings us to what exactly remains for them that's different.
Yeah.
So Apple,
I think it just goes into, like you said, the stability.
Yeah.
It's stability and habit.
Yeah, Apple really, they're just, from day one, it's hardware, software integration. Mm-hmm. We make the hardware, we make the software, we approve all the apps on the App Store, it's tightly wound together, and it works.
Yep. Okay.
Android's like, hey, some people want expensive phones, some people want cheap phones, some people want big phones, some people want small phones, some people want weird phones, some want conventional phones. We're not going to make all of this as Google.
Right.
So this is why we have our 5 million Android partners.
Yeah.
So, you got like, oh, you want a cheap phone? Oh, Motorola makes a good G7. Oh, you want a high-end phone with a pen? Oh, yeah, Samsung makes a Galaxy Note 9.
Yep, we got you.
You want a wide-angle camera? Go buy an LG. You want the purest Android experience with all of Google? You buy a Pixel. Yep. So the trouble for Android there has been for app developers. Because there's so many resolutions, so many models, so many screen sizes, so many RAM configurations.
Yeah.
That you end up with a phone or an app that you have to optimize for like 25 different devices.
Yep.
Whereas with the iPhone right now,
you only gotta make one.
Yeah, generally only gotta make one. Sometimes you'll make an iPad app.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes you'll make.
But they're now trying to make everything with the apps all talk to each other.
I feel that's what both companies are trying to do.
Okay.
Apple is trying to say, if you build it for the iPhone 10 or 10s, you got to build it for the iPad as well.
Right.
And Google's kind of looking like, well, if you're going to build it for the Pixel phone, we want you to build it for Chromebooks too. So that's kind of in the sense of just fondering the ecosystem. Now, another big difference, though, with the exception of Apple Music, Apple's basically gone and said, hey, look, we want
Apple
everything
everywhere.
Is just going to be on Apple devices. We're not going to put stuff on Android. Again, the exception being Apple Music.
Right.
Google's like, no. We're putting our services everywhere because we're a software company and we're going to put our software everywhere.
Right.
We're going to put it on Android. We're going to on every Android phone.
Right.
We're going to put it available on the web. You can access almost every Google service from the web.
Yep. But then now, speaking of everywhere, Apple jumped in and said, I want to start putting stuff everywhere too.
Yeah, so they're starting to get there where they're putting stuff on Samsung TVs, AirPlay on Samsung TVs, and Apple TV Plus and the Apple TV app on more smart box.
Roku. Yeah. Roku, Amazon. I think the only thing is Google that they're not. They just don't like each other.
So even these differences, they're slowly moving to being the same thing.
Yep.
So what I think in a few years you're going to end up with is like, okay, the way phones work is you can get your services mostly everywhere, but if you're locked into Apple, you're going to be better on the iPhone. If you're locked into Google, they're probably better on the Pixel.
Yeah.
Which kind of leaves the Android OEMs a little out in the cold. Because because I can testify to this. When I was a Google Play Music subscriber.
Yeah.
I had my HTC.
Which I used to love.
Yeah. So I had my HTC. And then I went to a Pixel, right?
Okay.
And I noticed Google Play Music worked better on Pixel.
Yeah.
And I don't. You could say that's Google optimizing the software, but all the other apps work fine. Spotify worked great on both.
Yeah.
So I think Google's just trying to go to the point where if you want the best experience for Maps, Keep, Gmail, all this, you go on Pixel.
Yeah.
So if you're Samsung, where does that leave you? Right. You gotta make your own ecosystem, and they're trying.
Or you gotta continue to download other apps.
Right. So if you you could go completely third party. Like if you just go back to the stuff we were talking about, you could say, forget Siri and Google Assistant. I'm gonna download Alexa.
Right.
I'm gonna go get Spotify. I'm gonna use Outlook.
Right.
I'm gonna use Bing search. And And I'm gonna use Flipboard and not use Google News app as a
Firefox.
I'm gonna use Firefox. I'm gonna watch Hulu. You can do that.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel Spotify actually picked up on this. That's why they have that partnership with Hulu right now.
Spotify, you get Hulu for free.
Yeah. Messaging app. There's 20 million Android messaging apps.
My mother asked me to download WhatsApp because she went on vacation to Cuba, and that was probably the best thing to use.
All they use.
Right. And me being like this Apple user, Omar says I drink too much of their Kool-Aid. I didn't want to download it. I said, Ma, just connect to Wi-Fi and iMessage me. She's like, nah, I want to use this to be safe and secure.
So here's the funny thing.
I'm like, dang, I had to add another app?
Here's the thing. So when I was in Jordan a little over a year ago, I was visiting my family over there. Everybody used WhatsApp.
Yeah.
The reason is because the carriers there charge you per text message, but data's unlimited. Okay?
That's so weird.
So I tell them about text messaging. They're like, oh, you still use regular messaging? And
like it's just old.
Yeah, well, because when you look at what WhatsApp does, everything's fully encrypted.
Okay, I did read that when I opened it up.
So you could send media and all that easily. So my dad would tell me, my dad's an interior designer, so if he has like a project plan that he needs to send to like one of his contractors, he just sends it from WhatsApp. Easy.
Interesting.
And it doesn't even bother with email. If he takes a picture, he's not going to send it via text. He's going to send it via WhatsApp. And that's an interesting dynamic.
Is WhatsApp the overall? Is it the iMessage for everybody?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, well, because you get WhatsApp on the iPhone. So you know how on our dock on our iPhones we have your iMessage right down there. Most people there on their docks, on their Galaxies or their whatever phone they're using, it's WhatsApp. That's one that's down there all the time.
Okay.
And group chats work really well. And WhatsApp has a web client, something that iOS or iMessages, doesn't have.
Okay.
So it becomes a thing where
I'm really surprised because with iMessage, it goes through Apple's servers, so you're not necessarily going through the carrier.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And the problem for overseas is there's a lot of people who have Android.
Oh, I forgot. United States is the Apple world, and over there is Android.
iOS only has like a 20% market share overseas. So, they'll have Xiaomi, Huawei, Samsung.
All the phones we wish we had.
Yeah, exactly. So they'll be using those. And they won't even, so they'll just, the first app they'll download is WhatsApp. Yeah. Obviously WhatsApp is automatic backup, Yep. So it's kind of turned into a WhatsApp video, WhatsApp talk. You can stay away from the two, but their preferences, they want to keep you locked in. But it should be interesting to see, obviously HTC has faded into oblivion, and now you have all these phones running Android One, so they've embraced Google's vision. Mm-hmm. So, which is, I think, a smart idea by Google, because the Pixel line is, they're premium phones, right?
Yeah.
So if they like, okay, you can't afford a Pixel? Great. You want that same experience? Get a Nokia 6.1 for $200.
Right.
You want a phone at $100? Get a Nokia 3.1. Get a Xiaomi Mi A2 Android One edition. Whatever you want to do. And it gives you that same experience. Because I was messing with Android 9 Pie on the Nokia 6.1.
Okay.
It's the same thing. There's no difference, in terms of the way it works and looks and feels and so forth.
Again, it's just going back to that when they had the Google Play Edition phones.
Exactly, and that's what it is. Yeah, I would like to see more flagships.
Like you said, they're getting away from that name, Google Play.
Yeah, exactly.
Hint.
They're going more to the, the Google branded stuff, Android branded stuff, YouTube branded stuff, taking away the Google Play. I wouldn't be surprised. The extras. I wouldn't be surprised if they changed the name of the Play Store.
Yeah.
Just call it the Google Store.
Well, then, but see, at that point you have Google Store retail as well, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So,
what if they tied them both in together?
Yeah, you got something there, because then you can have
shop devices.
Yep, because you got the hamburger menu where you can go down and be like, hey, I just want to shop devices. Oh no, I want to download apps. Hey, that might be genius. Mm-hmm. I like that. Mm-hmm. You can do your shopping too with
the Google Express.
Google Express.
Yeah, it's gonna be all encompassing. Maybe just. We don't have any inside information.
Just the cool idea.
And what's so funny though about Google having their software everywhere? So I switched to an iPhone recently, as you know.
Yes.
And so I have no less than 23 Google apps on my iPhone, and so it is weird that some of these apps work better on iOS.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know if that's like the lockdown nature of the operating system or something's going on with Android or maybe something was wrong with my Pixel. But like I was using what was it? I was using Gmail, which is Google's flagship app. Yeah. Really, you know, Gmail, outside of search, you know, it's the flagship app, and it feels like it worked better on iPhone.
Yep.
And now I will say Assistant and Google Search are better on Android. Okay. I think
that's just because it's more integrated.
Yeah,
you know, you got to do a different app, or a different click, a different Hey Google, Hey, you know, you got to do a different thing with Android. I mean, with iPhone.
Right.
So yeah, I get that part. But yeah, the Maps, Google Maps runs better on an iPhone. I like the News app on Apple, but I like the Google News app on iPhone. Because it works very well, and I get a search option. I can actually search what I want to find, whereas with Apple, they kind of force you to read or to skim through each and every category till you get the category you want, which has been annoying lately. So I don't know if they're going to add a search, but I like the search feature on Google News and so on.
Well, I think why Google does this is that, hey, they look at, again, they're a software company. They eventually want you to go use their hardware. You're like, oh yeah, you like YouTube? Oh, you like Gmail? You like Google Drive?
Remember, they send you that email when they notice that you've purchased an iPhone. They send you an email, hey, looks like you don't have any of your Google apps.
Yeah, exactly. They want you to use their software on iOS.
They're watching.
I mean, like Gboard on iOS is not bad. It's still better on Android, but but yeah. So the idea is if you like them enough, why don't you get the phone that was designed for them? Yeah. So, which makes the Pixel 4, when it comes out,
which makes it all confusing. I really love my iPhone, but I really love Google and what they do. And so I'm like, man, what's going to happen when this Pixel 4 comes out?
I was reading an article the other day about, because I was doing a bunch of Google stuff on my iPhone, and somebody had posed a thought where, oh, you want the best Google phone? Buy an iPhone. And
you text me that
where it's just like you get all your Google apps, you don't have any unnecessary carrier stuff, and the iPhone's more widely available in the US on carriers than the Pixel is. It's a compelling argument, you know, and having used these Google apps on here, I could verify, because I've been using I use the Apple Photos app a little bit, but I love Google Photos, right? And you know, you look at my home screen.
I'm using both.
Yeah, you got my main screen. Google Photos is there. You know, it's the number one app there.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting. I think Google recognizes that they're gonna get revenue by a bunch of iPhone users using their Google apps.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they do it. And on the Apple side, you know, they're starting to branch out to smart TVs.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to be more out there with AirPlay and having that built into the new Samsungs. And I think, when I heard that, I was like, finally. It took you long enough. There's been Chromecast on smart TVs for years.
Yep.
Android TV's been around for years. So, I like the way both companies are going. I think they're prioritizing a user experience and realizing that people care about privacy. Now, which kind of the whole point of this video comes to question: are they becoming the same operating system? I think they are. Honestly.
I think they are. I think the only difference to me is navigation to a degree, and that is it. I mean,
really, the only difference is Android has an app drawer, and that's about it.
Right? That yeah. Because then at the end of the day, I've seen some people that have Android phones. They literally have all their apps on their homepage, and they don't even want to go anywhere else. They got everything in a folder. Mm-hmm. So like, it goes back to the beginning of this video podcast. Android users want to be like iPhone users, and iPhone users want to be like Android users, and we're just all the same, and we're just all just...
I think they realize that, right? They realize that, like, Android users want the stability of iOS. Mm-hmm. iOS users want a little bit more of the customization of Android.
There you go.
And it's just like, what if we met in the middle?
Yep.
I think eventually, like I said, both are inching towards the middle.
I bet you they secretly have meetings and coffee breaks together.
All the time. And all this really indicates to me is the need for a third operating system. And...
damn, like what would you, like...
Microsoft tried it, with Windows Phone.
You would have to... one of these, Android or iOS, would have to literally almost fall off like Windows operating system and BlackBerry did in order for something else to pop up. But I mean, with the world we have, the tech space that we have, people are becoming more content, and they just want more from what they already have. They don't want any more confusion, because they keep adding all these services already. So they're like, shoot, now they're confusing me with services.
The problem is that we're so app driven now on phones.
Yep. Everything is app.
If
goes back to Apple. Remember, there's an app for that.
Yeah. If the app situation wasn't that big of a deal, it wouldn't matter. You would have multiple things out there. It's why Windows Phone failed. They couldn't get Instagram in time. Their Facebook app was terrible. Their Twitter app was good, and they never got Snapchat. And look, when you're trying to sell people phones, and then you tell them you don't have those apps, it's a deal breaker.
Social media runs the world.
It's a deal breaker.
Yep.
Even like new games would come out, Windows Phone wouldn't get them.
Damn.
And I was the biggest Windows Phone advocate. I loved every Lumia I had. Trust me on that. So, but I just think if there's a third person in there, operating system in there, that could help drive this innovation. That's what Palm did. That's what BlackBerry did. That's what Windows Phone did. Because Windows Phone actually introduced a full-fledged dark mode that Android and iOS still have yet to replicate.
Yeah, come on now. And they talk about all this, better on the eyes and night, and night mode and all this extra stuff. I think dark mode should have been in most of these phones. A long
to
time
me,
ago.
the fact Windows Phone, you could go into settings. All right, you want light or dark? Okay, dark. Cool. What's your accent color? All right, let's say you do green. All right. You go into your phone app, it's black and green. Yeah. You go to your phone app, it's black and green. You go to your messaging app, it's black and green. You go to your email app, it's black and green. You go to Internet Explorer, it's black and green. And all their system apps right away.
Yep.
And why iOS and Android have yet to properly implement this is beyond me. And so I think it would be nice to see a company. I wouldn't mind seeing Amazon give a stab at operating system, see what they could come up with. Now they have a bigger portfolio. When the Fire Phone came out, they weren't ready.
Hot.
They weren't ready.
Yeah.
But now they have their cloud stuff. I wouldn't mind seeing Microsoft give it another whirl. Honestly.
Yeah. You know what though? I think what could happen is Microsoft and Alexa or Amazon made. That'd be a good thing.
What if you put them together?
Yeah, that would be.
And it would call Surface OS.
Yeah.
Microsoft makes the hardware. Amazon it builds in Alexa because Cortana's going away. But you utilize OneDrive and comes with an Office 365 subscription. It's like
I can see that happening before anything else. Yeah.
So I could see that. Unless Huawei came out with their own operating system.
But they're hard to getting over here.
They're not going to get in the U.S. So, yeah. So that's a lot of stuff to think about. The future of operating systems now with, your main two kind of. It seemed like just being content with where they're at. Maybe the point of the market is here, and where a third entry is a possibility.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear what you guys have to think about that. Do you want a third operating system in there? Do you even care?
Are you bored?
Are you bored of all of it? Is a phone just a phone? You like your iPhone? You like your Galaxy?
You want to go back to flip phones?
I mean, that might be coming. That new Razr.
Right.
But yeah, on that note, it's a little bit of a longer quality tech talk today.
Ooh, very quality.
Yes. We really enjoy this new format because it allows us to be more conversational without having to worry about the camera in front of our face. So we hope you guys like it too, and would love to hear your feedback on this topic, our new format, anything you'd like us to hear. Obviously, our last topic was a request from somebody who watched our videos before. So if you want to hear anything at all, want to hear us, banter and talk about anything in the future, please let us know. This is Omar, Creston, and this is another Quality Tech Talk. Catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.